you here for this Teh Tarik session today. All right, and the talk is actually really trying to help our kids to learn better, and I will of course let our guest speaker introduce herself more towards the later on. Now I think you guys know that BapaHebat, we have actually been registered about slightly more than a year and all that. The purpose of it is really to help fathers, all right? We say we support fathers on the fathering journey. I'm sure as fathers, you are actually on a journey, right? From the day your baby is born, first one come out, very happy, right? You're a father, right? So that's when the journey starts. And when does the journey ends? Never, right? It never ends until you end, all right? Until you end, that's where your responsibility as father actually ends, right? So for us, what we're trying to do is, along this journey, of course, there are many pitfalls or, loopholes or, and things that needs, support and all that. So for us, really, what we are looking at is that many research have showed that the presence of a father can play a very, very important role to the lives of the children, all right? Especially, in terms of the self-esteem, in terms of their ability to learn and again, to stop being pressurized by their peers and all that. So these are things that definitely will help. So that's why we, again, like I said, we're here and we do quite a few things. We do not only these kind of programs, what we call awareness program, where we have talks and all that, but our main core program, the 70% of what we do is actually what we call corrective programs. We do programs actually in the prisons, and we also do programs in the halfway house. That's why we spend most of our time, all right, in the prisons. What we do, we help fathers to reintegrate again with their families. Similarly, in the halfway house too, we do that. So 70% of our time is actually spent on that, and the 30% is what we do here now. All right. Okay. So without further ado, shall I get our guest speaker today here, Dr. Inderbir Sandhu, who is going to talk to you guys about how to get our kids, to learn better. All right. So, Doctor.
I am a published author, as you can see, and a few other books are coming up soon. I specialize in gifted education for children with high ability, high IQ. But the group is very niche, so I'm trying to focus on something where I can help all parents. And at the same time, I lecture at the university, Singapore University of Social Science, psychology, and nothing to do with children. So anyway, I feel that the strategies that I had researched upon, and of course I came up with the book, I think they are quite useful, and it can be really helpful if parents use it. And when I talk about parents, I mean specifically fathers here. I also mean grandfathers. So it's not only for fathers, it's also for grandfathers, because today I feel that the involvement of grandparents with the grandchild has become really big, and it really makes a difference. Okay, so this is just about the human brain, some things that you may have heard or you may not have heard, and it actually impacts the child. Okay, so we know that our brain, 70% is water. 2%, just 2% dehydration actually will affect attention, memory, and other cognitive skills. This is for everyone. So imagine for children. So one important thing that you need to do is make sure your child is always hydrated. You will find that if a child is not hydrated, that child is going to be irritable, that child is going to be frustrated and will not learn easily. Okay, so make sure when your child is doing their homework or anything that requires cognitive skills or even any sporting activities, make sure they have a water bottle. Children forget, and we should not assume that if we don't tell them, they're going to drink water on their own. So one way is, especially when you're at home, make sure they have a water bottle and just keep checking, seeing whether it's like getting empty or it's still very full. If it's very full, then there's a problem there. You need to get your child to drink water. Not only for children, it's for us as well. Imagine when we are hungry or we don't have enough water, we get irritable, right? So it's the same thing. Next, babies have big head to hold rapidly growing brains. So if you see a baby's head very big at 2 years old, it's very normal. Doesn't mean that their IQ is higher. This is a myth. Okay, I think about 20 years ago, there was this thing going on, the bigger your head, the higher your IQ. Actually, there is a little comparison, there is a correlation, but it is not significant, and there are mixed results. So research has shown that we cannot say that they are correlated. Okay, so a baby's head is big because of the rapid brain development. Remember, rapid brain development happens between 0 to 3. The first phase, the most rapid. Next phase will be 4 to 6. Then it will be up to 10 and then 14. And then it gets slower. Like mine is really slow, hardly developing. Okay? And we reach full maturity. That means the frontal lobe of the brain where we perform a lot of tasks, that matures at around, there is of course no fixed number, between 25 to 28 years old. So if your kids want to make big major decisions, of course that will be a good age to make those decisions. And which is why teenagers, you will see that they are not able to understand what you keep thinking, why kenapa dia tak faham ni? You try to help them, you try to do this and that, and it's like, why can't they understand that this is not right? They can't, because their brain has not reached that maturity level. So we have to be a bit compromising to children, kesian lah sikit. So take a step back and try to understand the children's perspective. Okay, male brain. Okay, this is actually a bummer, I think, for guys. Because of the male head size, the brain actually is 10% bigger than women's, but the women's hippocampus, this is an area of the brain where memory is linked. That part of our brain is larger than males, which is why, whether it's your wife, your daughter, your mother, your grandmother, we don't forget things very easily compared to the male. Okay, so take that, if you have a daughter and you promise something, your son is going to forget, your daughter is not. Okay. Of course, stress and depression can cause brain shrinkage. Now, we would think that, oh, it's okay, we get stressed, and you get stressed, it's okay, but if your child is getting stressed because of the environment in the house, you need to really look at it and see what you can do to help, because stress is not good for any of us, especially for children, especially when their brain is developing. Of course, low levels of omega-3s, which is children's favorite diet, all the fast food and all the easy processed, highly processed food. It's easy for parents, and I can understand parents are very busy, and it's easy. Oh, just get burgers, just get these frozen burgers, and it's actually so bad for children's brain development, especially if the child is 6 years and below. So I'm not saying totally eliminate. I mean, it's very difficult when their friends are having McDonald's and they can't keep watching, but cut down as much as possible. Don't make it like, oh, if you do well, I'll take you to McDonald's, I'll take you to Kentucky. Don't do that, okay? Don't let them think that that is good food or luxury food or happy food. You can explain to them, you can talk to them about processed food. Okay, of course, when your child is doing their work, if you are involved, especially for very young children, you have to make it fun. Research from Harvard showed that, you know, if your brain is happy, positive, it is 31% more productive than when it is even at neutral, or of course negative, it is the other way around. Okay, so when a child is happy, the child learns better. So if you are going to scold the child, oh pergi buat kerja rumah sampai sekarang tak buat, you yell at the child and the child is very upset, or the child said, ayah 5 minit lagi biar habis program ni, you know, you said tak boleh pergi sekarang, you insist the child go, the child is going to be very upset, very hurt, and the child is not going to learn as well as you would like the child. Of course, I mean, these are things, these are discipline stuff which you will have to manage. Okay, sometimes what is 5 minutes? Then again, if you are always giving extra 5 minutes, the children are very smart these days, the child will learn that, hey, I can manipulate my parents, so let me keep doing this, and you know, my parents, they are going to agree. So you have to be careful there. Okay, so maybe that just one occasion, you have to let the child know that, okay, this one time, this is not going to happen again, so you need to complete your homework before you can watch TV, for example. Okay, so now we will go to the kind of activities which will help boost your child's brain power. Don't you think that, you know, today the preschool is so different from what it used to be? Like, look at this, you know, this mother goes to school and says, Timmy is very bright for his age. He knows nearly all his ABCs. Today, that is not enough. Look at all the other, I mean, this is just a cartoon, but you know, look at everyone else. In Singapore, the rat race to get the child to be, you know, to learn as much as possible at preschool stage is amazing. If you ask me, no, I don't agree with that. I think children should be allowed to have their childhood, but unfortunately, there is a downside to that as well. So now, if we don't teach our children before they get to school, it is not going to be good as well, because that child will be going to school and then not being at par with other children in the classroom, and there will be issues, self-esteem issues. The teacher may say, how come you don't know this? You don't know what the teachers talk in school, you know. It's just a child. The child will not report that to you. And the child will feel that, is something wrong with me? Why am I not as good as, you know, the others? So you really don't have a choice but to help your child a little bit before the child goes to preschool, or you need to help your child at home. One way is a real early head start. Okay, so the first 5 years of what you do, how you help your child, is going to affect the next 80 years. Well, I mean, we hope they live up to 80 years old, for as long as they can live. So what you need to do is you need to have a head start. So before your child goes to primary 1, you need to make sure that your child already knows some skills that will be learned at school. So of course, if you ask me, you know, if you start from pre-pregnancy, if any one of you plan to have another kid, to start from pre-pregnancy, make sure that, you know, while the child is in the womb, of course the mom should be having very good food for the brain, for the child's developing brain. And while the child is in the womb, you can actually talk to the child. Dad should do that. Read to the child, introduce stuff to the child while the child is still in the womb. Trust me, it works. It really works. The development, brain development is amazing. Okay, this is a little scientific, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, the synaptic density. Now, babies are born with billions of neurons in the brain. Neurons are all the cells in the brain, and what happens is that, you see, at birth, the connection. What I'm showing you here is the connection. You can see the connection is very sparse. You know, it's not tight. Look at that 6 years old. how much the connection, it becomes a lot more. So how does that happen? If an intelligent child will have a lot of connections in the brain, how does that happen? One way, stimulation. No running away from that. You have to keep stimulating your child. If your child asks you something, you don't just give your child the answer. Get your child to think, get your child to speak. Every time your child is doing any challenging task, what is happening is that their connection is improving. This is up to 6 years old. Then as they get older, the stimulation will not help as much as it would at up to 6 years old, 6, 7. I mean, there is no cut-off date, but we have to, it's more organized when we give the timeline. So you see, at 14 years old, the connection has become much lesser. So preschool, this is an amazing age for you to help the child develop their brain as much as you can. Okay, so interaction with babies. Now, these are myths, okay? A newborn is not capable of interacting right away. Not true at all, okay? A newborn can interact with you. A newborn can see you. Okay, maybe not very well. It can usually see the caregiver, the parents, about, up to 1 foot. It takes a while for baby to see or hear. Again, not true. Now, especially hearing. The baby can hear while in the womb. It's amazing that about 1 month into conception, you can start doing some very light reading to your child while the child is still in the womb. Okay, so these are myths, okay? It has been busted. Talk. Now, I know generally men are a little quiet. You don't talk as much as women. We women, we are very chatty. We love to chat. But that can change. Try to talk to your kid more and more. It really makes a difference. I mean, if you really don't have the time, of course, then you let your wife do it. But you see, it's very different. Fathering and mothering is different. For a mother, it comes naturally. For a father, you have to work a little hard on it. And it really helps. Okay? So first few years, of course, are critical. Baby learn best through interaction. There is no substitute to you. So a lot of people use pacifier as a substitute. Puting. Or, some people use iPad. That is not a substitute. I'm not saying that, oh, you got to spend all your time with your kid and you have things to do as well. So it's okay when you allow your child to use it at times. But don't make it a habit. The moment your child announces you, nak ambil, you give your phone or nak main. So don't disturb me, I've got work to do. Okay? And another thing is those of you who have help at home, it's okay. I mean, if you have help, it's good. At least, you don't have to do a lot of things. Your wife is not going to tell you to help with the housework. But if possible, make sure your helper does not attend too much to your child, especially when it comes to interacting. Okay, she can clean up stuff and maybe anything to do with your child, especially up to 3 years old or even a little older. If you can do as much for your child at that stage, it is amazing. One way is to have grandparents who live close by and send the kid there. You can send the helper there. The helper can do everything else, but let the grandparents interact with the child. Really makes a difference. Okay, and also another thing is that for babies, all languages sound the same when they are born. So there's no difference. You can speak to the baby in any language. Of course, what the baby hears in the womb will be the language the baby will be most familiar with. But this is also a very good time if you want to. If let's say your wife speaks a different language, you speak a different language, your mother tongue is different. It's actually amazing because you can teach your child both languages. So I'm not saying that they need to master the language, but if your child can learn 2 or more languages up to like 10 years old, and after that they can just leave it. the brain development at that stage is actually amazing, because learning language really builds connections in the brain. So that will be a good way for you to help your child learn as well. So so what? Just take if you take Chinese, French, German, whatever, Arabic, whichever language. Of course, when they are younger, they will have more time. Once they are a little older, probably they won't have interest, they won't have time. They learn very quickly, and it's actually very good for the brain. Now, this one, infant directed speech, another word for it is parentese. Okay, so I'm not talking about baby talk, like you cannot speak to your baby in a like high-pitched tone. It's okay, but do not use incorrect grammar. Don't use words that don't exist. You can speak, ya sayang, mari nak minum susu. Don't use words that don't exist, because this is your child's earliest speech, and if the child is going to learn incorrect words, then it's not that you cannot undo that. Of course, when they go to school, that will be undone. But why? Speak in proper sentences to help your child build their vocabulary and build their grammar. As I said, it will make a difference. Okay, now books. There is no substitute to books, just like there's no substitute for parents, okay? So it really increases brain power. Now, reading is to the mind what exercise does to the body. Stimulate mental imagery, understanding, and it helps with language processing. So, even Obama said, reading makes all other learning possible. We have to get books into our children's hands early and often. And as you know, Obama, he's highly intelligent. His wife is highly intelligent. The children are highly intelligent. So, let's take what he's saying a little more seriously. And this has been proven. Okay, books are amazing. So early reading to children, especially at night, and don't leave it to the mothers to do it. I mean, they're already so tired with all the housework and doing everything. Use this time as bonding time between you and your child, father-child bonding. Okay, and especially babies, when you read to them, it does not matter whether they understand or not. You will be amazed. They are actually encoding. Everything is going in. You may think that, oh yeah, I'm just reading, but baby doesn't understand anything. Not true. You are actually stimulating your baby. And especially when you use different pitch, different tone, the baby will get excited and everything is going in. Even if you think it's not, it is. Okay, so you are smiling at the baby, baby smiles back at you, the baby will try to make some sounds, you make sounds back. That is for baby. You can even do it for a 7 or 8-year-old, doesn't matter. Okay, holding, touching them, all these further enhance a child's brain development. You may have tangible wealth untold, caskets of jewels and coffers of gold. Richer than you can never be. This is BapaHebat, so let me change this to father. I had a father who read to me. I think this is just so beautiful because, that is how we look at wealth, how rich someone is. This person is like, I think in the early 1900s, and if then they can come up with something like this. So reading has been proven from a very, very long time ago to be a very effective strategy to boost brain power. These days children, these being vegan, gluten-free, having all these kinds of stuff, it's not common during like my time. No way, it's not common at all. You just eat everything that's laid out on the table. But today your child might ask you questions like that. So be prepared to respond to your child. Never shut your child down. Never say, don't ask silly questions. Never say that. No question is silly. But your child may be, poking you here and there, sometimes trying to say things to try to annoy you. You cannot get annoyed. Don't let the child win. So you try to just come up with something to respond to your child, okay? And children are children, they're going to manipulate you, and it is not wrong. It's okay for them to manipulate you because that is a skill. It's a skill that they will need next time in formal school. Okay, an active mind, active body makes a sharper mind. Now, do not allow your child to just, sit all the time on the computer, television, or, sedentary activity. Even reading all the time is not going to be good. Get your child to do movement. I mean, look at this. And at the end of the day, your feet should be dirty, your hair messy, and your eyes sparkling. Now, I know this does not happen a lot today because things have changed. Every child, has a phone or an iPad, and they are so addicted to it. And not only that, it is a means to explore knowledge. So we can't do away with that.